Become leaders, especially those women who actually do not believe that their role in the society is to take the forefront.
I think women should be empowered to become leaders because they bring something different. And in the spirit of the BBI and inclusion, with their different approaches or their different approaches generally to things, we will have a better decision-making process because we will have very many opinions, and therefore with their nature and their approach, we will have better decisions basically.
You remind yourself, why do you think it's important to empower women to occupy positions of power or leadership?
Because we live in a world with women. I mean, the world is 50-50, so why is it that in some particular areas we feel that they shouldn't be? But I also realize that it's not that simple to do, because my issue with when we talk about patriarchy, or we don't understand, and there's a friend of mine who works for Enoch, where he says, if you want to imagine what it is like to be a woman and telling her she can achieve everything, imagine a woman going to a male toilet, a urinal, and asking her to pee. That's exactly what it is. The world has been structured like a male's urinal, and you as a woman, biologically, it does not match you. But you're told, fit here, like this, use it, like we do. It's not possible. And so that's how we need to start thinking about how a system has already been built that works to the advantage of men, and telling women that they need to be like men cannot work. But it's about understanding the differences that they have, and then using those differences to be able to support a new world that both of them can coexist.
There's this famous statement that behind a successful man lies a woman. When we are talking about women in leadership, are they supposed to just occupy positions that are covered, or must it only be the positions that are at the forefront, the positions that we can clearly see? Rebecca, what do you think?
I think it should be open. If for example, I get married and I was sharing a platform with Nijima around 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks back, and we were talking about women in leadership and empowering women voices. And she stood and she says, for her, for example, she will have to be on TV at 6 a.m. in the morning, but before she leaves, she has to make sure that the husband is okay. But I think it's the husband, it's also the duty of the husband to make sure that if you have a strong woman as she is, you also, empower her and facilitate her. So I think it's 50-50. If I can support my husband to be the best version, let me do it. If my husband can support me, why not?
Like the story I just mentioned, it's not that simple. It's not black and white. Actually, marriage is gray. And as much as you talk about a partnership of 50-50 between a husband and wife, you forget that when we marry communities. My husband might want to help me, but dare he help me in front of his mother? My husband might want to change that baby's diaper, but dare he do it in front of his aunties? Who will get more slack? It will be me. And that's the system that I'm talking about. And sometimes it's not that men don't want to help. He has to also deal with his friends. Oh, umekaliwa. Kama chapati. Anakuambia kila kitu. So, and that's the world. And so that's why I'm saying we're to view women in leadership as just, it's right or wrong, it's very dynamic. And I have learned to be flexible. I've learned to find what works for me, and the next person might be completely different, and it's fine. There's no right answer, and there's no wrong. Yeah, that's what I've learned. Yeah.
Okay. So, what I can get from you, Nirima, is that there is an issue probably with the way of thinking that even with men, when they do things that are considered to be feminine, they feel threatened. Probably their ego feels, injured in some sort, and that is how the community views it as well. So, how do you think we can address the issue of culture, the issue of attitude, or the issue of societal structure that this is what a man is supposed to do and this is what a woman is supposed to do?
I think it takes talking about it openly and honestly. It's very rare to find a space where you can be honest about these things, because people do like to pretend, especially on things where everything looks perfect, and we come up from a social media aspect where our lives are perfect online. They're not like that. So I would say, in terms of speaking openly about it and understanding that even women in leadership have weaknesses. We are not perfect. Nobody is. And so sometimes we tend to put women on a higher pedestal than men. And to even hear you talk about not going out. Guys were going out.
Yeah.
He didn't change his life, by the way. In fact, they even rave more. They are out. But a woman, she becomes like a catatro. And she retrieves him, maybe he's even more out. Something like what, for instance, Murkomen does. He can talk about politics, he can criticize the president, he can talk about football, he can scream like a baby, and he continues. There are women do that. Especially you, as a socialite, one day, like let's say, Huda just decides, I'm gonna talk about BBI. People will wonder, what's wrong with this chick? Thank you. And so that's the aspect of women and men that is different when it comes to leadership. If a woman is in politics, she remains. If a woman is in sports, she remains. If she's in entertainment, she remains. But men can go this way. That's how we have someone like Mariga entering politics. A woman cannot. And those are the things that we need to realize, that we internally have believed to be culture, but we do not recognize, because we're also teaching our daughters, younger girls, the same thing. And so once we recognize that, I think that we can grow somewhere.
Rebecca, for you, what do you think we can change your attitude towards this gender structure?
I think I will point to three very important institutions, and that is one, our churches, where we get our religious nourishment, because these institutions really shape our morals, really shape the way we view things. Secondly, our families, and we talked about that mostly, how parents will treat the son and the daughter. And then lastly, our education system, and how a child is nurtured, because the truth is, we like it or not, most of us have spent a very large percentage of our lives in school and being exposed to education. And the education that we have gotten has also shaped our life and how we view things as well. So education system, the church, and the family, that's where the change needs to start.
When she was talking, she mentioned about, women are not perfect, we have weaknesses. And I feel like sometimes it is used against us. When people say that women are enemies of themselves, it's almost as though that women cannot disagree. It's as though if me and Rebecca or Nerima would disagree, then it's said that, even women are not united. Oh, you see, that's why they're failing. They're not. So what's your take on, the role of women supporting their own women to become leaders and occupy these positions?
I say just practice what you preach. For me, I do it, I mentor. If I have opportunities, I share them with women. I live it. And so once that's passed forward, we'll begin to see more women openly doing that. And I think it's important. But also, again, to recognize that it was this year, in the Daily Nation, they talked about slave queens being involved in some deal, a scandal. It is this year that the Standard reported about Igua and Embrace fighting over men on the front page of the Standard. It is in this country this year. So we also have to see how the media portrays and how we are constantly feeding and eating it. I noticed that, and I was pissed. I actually messaged editors, and people did. They said, you can't do things like this. And it's those messages that we recognize every day and don't realize that we're being fed. So it's to pay attention and to see that there are some sort of messages always being conveyed to change how we view women in particular positions. And once you identify that it's sneaking in, stop it. Yeah.
What I think is we need to learn that it's okay for us to create a system. But the fact that we are creating a system and we are going to be part of a system does not mean that we will not disagree. And especially on issues of policies and concrete issues, it's okay for us to disagree there. But we need to care for each other. Even if I disagree with Nejima, for example, in a public platform, that does not mean in a private platform we're not sisters. So having that balance, and also knowing that as women, if I decide to vie for a position, not all women will vote for me. Let's agree on that. So when we get to that platform where we have to compete with the male counterparts, let us be competent enough for the competition. Let's prepare for the competition. But behind the scenes, in our comfort zones, let's be